Hi friends, welcome you all for today's session 3 of recruitment and selection. So in the previous class, we learned so many things about job analysis. So here we go with the further concepts of job analysis technique, but before that, let's revise what we did in the previous classes. So very first to take, we define what do you mean by job. So to simply to understand what is job, a job is a collection of tasks where you're collecting a task, okay, where it has to be performed by a single individual or an employee, okay, for the production, to produce something, where he is going to produce for some product or services, okay, in an organization. So that we defined as a job, and also each job requires different ability and the requirements. Okay, for that particular job, whatever he performs, we have to finally reward him. Okay, associated with the job what he performs. So job analysis, we can say it's a process which is used to identify these requirements, and also the job analysis, what it does is it's a process in the method where you produce some productivity is happening. Okay, so the job we define, it's nothing but a role, duty, task, something which has been assigned to a particular person or an employee, where he is utilizing that whatever the role is given to produce something. Okay, now coming to job analysis. Okay, so job analysis, it's a detailed, okay, and a systematic way of what you are going to study the job. Okay, it's a detailed way of you studying a job regarding to the nature, the characteristics and the features of each and everything about a particular job. That we call it as a job analysis. So what are we doing in the job analysis is not only we studying the job nature, characteristics or the features, at the same time the person who performs this particular job requires what are the necessary responsibilities, the skills and the outcome what has been expected, the working environment to perform the particular job. Everything is being assessed in the job analysis. Okay, and we also said that this job analysis is being identified, okay, it's been identified or redesigned or created by the job analysis specialist, or it can be also be done by the managers, or it can also be done by the position classifiers. Okay, so these are the persons who are doing the job analysis here. Okay, so we are already told that in the large organizations where introduces new jobs have been reviewed, okay, they have been reviewed with the old jobs and created or the redesigned with the new jobs. And now coming to the features, okay, the features of the job analysis, the job analysis, what we did is like before that I think we try to explain with the job analysis matrix here. So job analysis matrix explains what the worker does, generally what the worker is doing, okay, that is particularly with respect to tasks, duties and the responsibility, and how the worker does that particular job, okay, like what method is applying, tools or the techniques what is applying, so that we studied, and why the worker does it. So why is he doing? As already said, to produce something, the product or the services. And finally, worker qualification. So what is that skill required, ability required and the knowledge required. So those four matrix were explained in the job analysis matrix. So what the worker does, how the worker does it, why the worker does it, and workers classification. Now moving to the features, okay, so features, what it says is job analysis, it's a formal one, okay, job analysis is a formal one because it's a very structured one, planned one and a methodological one. Okay, and because each job requires planning and we have to derive the job's characteristics, nature, features, everything, so we call it as a job is a formal one and a methodological systematic one. Okay, next, job analysis is a detailed examination of a job. Yes, a detailed thorough examining the job what you're doing, okay, of each task, responsibility, examining in detail about how this job will be performed, who is performing, so how you're carrying out, and ultimately what you're deriving from the particular job. Okay, and next one, job analysis is an important personal activity because we are applying this job analysis because once well defined job analysis, it is ultimately going to be applied in all our HR units and it is interlinked. That's why we say job analysis is a fundamental, okay, the building blocks of HR unit. Okay, and next, job analysis is a continuous process. Because we know that as there is a demand and the fluctuations in the market, new jobs are being created, and we were redesigned with the old jobs. So it's a continuous process. And job analysis is a collection of data. You collect the data and then you analyze the data and relating that one to the job performed. Okay, so these are the features what I'm telling. And also job analysis is having very two important byproducts. One is a job description, other one is a job specification. So job description, it describes regarding to the job. Specification, it specifies to perform this particular job what are the KSA required. Okay, so finally we can say job analysis is a process, method or a work where you are redesigning with the jobs. So these were the general features what we studied. Okay, so next coming to the uses of job analysis. I've already told uses to make to understand this uses. It's very simple. You apply the job analysis in all our HR functions. So naming very few, like it can be applied in our manpower planning. Okay, it can be applied in the recruitment selection, placement, training. Okay, even in the job evaluation, performance appraisal. Okay, and safety, health, discipline, etc., etc. It goes off. And the next concept, understanding the fundamentals, we came into the very important topic, that is the job analysis techniques. Okay, job analysis techniques is where there you're defining the job nature, characteristics, etc. And this job analysis has been performed by a specialist or the managers, or there are job analyst persons only, we call them as. Okay, so we're making use of these various techniques or the methods. They are creating the job or they are redesigning the jobs. So very first technique what we discussed was in the previous classes, job analysis interview. Okay, here what does it mean is job analysis interview is, it's a method where you try to collect, okay, you're collecting a various information, you're collecting what? A various information from an incumbent. Incumbent is a person who has been assigned with certain roles or the tasks or the duties, and we are asking that incumbent to describe whatever the job is performing. So what job is performing, we are asking to describe the nature and the characteristics of the job what he performed. In the form of an interview we are asking. At the same time, not only the incumbent you are asking, you are also asking the supervisor also. Okay, so either this interview, okay, job analysis interview can be done individually or group. And remember, when you are doing in a group, and all these people should be of similar job nature, they should be performing the same kind of job. Okay, when we are conducting the group interview, remember that. So what we can do is, the classification of job analysis interview is usually done by three types. That is, either you can do it individually, okay, or it is done group wise, or it is done by supervisor. Okay, yeah, next is types of job analysis interview. What we discuss in the job analysis types interview, there are two types of interview what we generally conduct in the job analysis here. One is unstructured, other one is a structured one. Okay, unstructured is something where it's not been planned. Okay, it's somewhere the conversation with no prepared questionnaire. Okay, there is no questionnaire for the conversation, and it's a predetermined line of investigation. Okay, it's not structurally planned. Whereas in the structured interview, it's been something which been planned, structured, sequenced, okay, where it requires more time consuming, because a person, okay, an incumbent or the supervisor has to thoroughly read the job. Okay, so time consuming, and the training is also required to perform a structured interviews. Okay, at the same time, we saw the advantages and the disadvantages of job analysis interview. So what were the advantages of this interview is, we are making the incumbent to describe, okay, we are asking the incumbent to describe the task and the roles, okay, that in the form of observations. So he's just giving through the observations what is performing. Whereas disadvantages, sometimes whatever the nature of job he's performing, he tries to omit. When it comes to the description, he tries to omit, and that's what we said now, to clearly to define whatever the nature of job one person does, it requires a training for him to explain, yes, this job says this one. So training is required and the time is required. So these are the disadvantages. So finally what we can say is, job analysis interview, they are the structured, okay, they are the structured conversation which is happening, okay, between the job analyst, okay, job analyst and one or more subject matter expert. Okay. Next, we came with a job analysis questionnaire. The second technique was job analysis questionnaire. See, here what we're doing is, when you say questionnaire, it's a detailed questionnaire. Okay, the questionnaire is having regarding to the questions of job analysis. Okay, regarding to the job matter, duty matter, roles matter, it's having a detailed questions here. Okay, and who prepares this questionnaire is, again, it's prepared by the job analyst, where he is distributed among the workers. The questionnaire has been distributed among the workers. Okay, and again, when you're framing the questionnaire, we can also take the help of a supervisor, because we already said supervisors are the knowledgeable persons. Okay, at the same time, questionnaire also is having a structured questionnaire. Okay, we can expect the questionnaire to be structured, because we are trying to collect a detailed answers here. So, and again, the questionnaire should have job related task and behaviors. So in this questionnaire, what we are asking, one way we are asking the job related questions, on the other side we are asking the to perform that particular job, what are the behaviors expected. So behaviors related questions are also being encountered here. Okay, and remember that it's questionnaire, generally it's one of the economical form. Okay, very economical, and we can cover the large number of people at a time, and it's also time consuming. It's also a time consuming. And when you're taking the opinion, okay, regarding to the task and the behavior, okay, that is describing in terms of one particular job, what they're performing, you have to explain all the importance, the features and the differences, relationship and the performances, etc. Okay, the next one, in this job analysis questionnaire, we have two types. One is a close-ended questionnaire and an open-ended questionnaire. See, open-ended questionnaire is where the person is asked to describe his jobs open, whereas close-ended is somewhere it is like limited one. So if you ask which one is better, open-ended or closed-ended, the closed-ended questions are very much benefited. Okay, so that hence we can conclude that open-ended questionnaire, what happens is respondents provide their own answers to the questions. They are providing their own answers, whereas in the close-ended, they select the answer from the list whatever it has been provided in the questionnaire. And this job analysis questionnaire, what is happening is it has been provided with the subject matter expert. Okay, you can also take the help of subject matter expert or even the incumbent or the supervisors. Those three persons sit together and they try to decide whether it is a close-ended or a open-ended questionnaire, and this has to be in a written form. Okay, next coming to the job analysis inventory. So job analysis inventory, what we did is, it's other way, it is also called as a task inventory method. Okay, here they are trying to identify with the help of employees and the managers. Okay, and they're going to list out the task, okay, whatever the task they're doing or the roles they're doing, and they describe. Okay, this we call it as a job analysis inventory, where the list of tasks or the roles have been described, okay, with the help of employees and the managers regarding to the different jobs what they are performing. Okay, and this is used when the large number of jobs, okay, when you want to this method, especially I'm speaking about this method now, you can use it when large number of jobs, especially in the occupations, when you're creating now, that has to be analyzed, then you're applying this job analysis inventory here. And again, this can be done like individually. It can be done individually by interviewing. Okay, you're listing out the task and you're just taking the, in an interview form, you're trying to take the answers here. Okay, and again, when you are doing this job analysis inventory, here also whatever that to perform that particular task, it influences the task performing knowledge, skill and ability also to perform that particular job here. And task inventory, okay, task inventory method, it is having three types. Okay, here the three types, it's what it says is workers oriented, job oriented, cognitive oriented. See, workers oriented, it speaks about, it focuses on the general human behaviors. Okay, you want to perform this particular job, so what is the behaviors or the attitudes, okay, what we are expecting from a worker or an employee or an incumbent. Okay, and when it comes to the job oriented, so what to perform that particular job, what is the technology or the method, okay, which is involved in that particular job, so that we are trying to find out. And cognitive orientation, here we are trying to find out the cognitive components. Cognitive components are what is the perception he is having, what is the stereotypical mindset he is carrying, okay, associated with the task whatever he is performing, that we try to assess here. So the three types of job analysis inventory are here: worker oriented, job job oriented and cognitive oriented. Okay, now coming to the position analysis questionnaire. What is this position analysis questionnaire? Again, it is very much attached with the questionnaire only. Okay, it is also attached with the questionnaire. But what happens is it contains 194 items. It is containing 194 items. These items have been compressed, okay, and they divided into the 6 major divisions. We classify into 6 major divisions. Okay, so otherwise what we can call the position analysis questionnaire is it's a standardized questionnaire. Okay, it is also one of the standardized questionnaire where it is trying to it is quantifying the work oriented job elements. It is quantifying the job, okay, what they are performing. And here what this position analysis questionnaire says is it's going to give us more answers, scientific answers. So the accuracy, what we can expect is scientific, and also more data here pulled is quantitative based. It's on the fact based or the information based. So that is why we can just relate to the job element method also. So we're going to discuss further what is job element method there. And here ratings, okay, position analysis questionnaire, we try to use various forms of rating scales. Rating scales have been used. Okay, when you're using the rating scales here, what and all we try to use is extent. What is that extent? To what extent it has been used, this PAQ, what extent it has been used, and time, okay, what is the time it is consuming, and the importance, what is the importance of this PAQ, and the possibility of occurrence. So what is the possibility of occurrence there, applicability, and the special code. So these are the ratings we try to take use of it. And again, this can be used, PAQ can be used in like training sessions and the selection and even the collection data, etc. And here in this position analysis questionnaire, one thing you have to remember is what are the employees activities comes in position analysis questionnaire. Employees activities, I mean. So here very first one is information input. Okay, I'm speaking about the employees activities which are coming in PAQ. So very first one is information input. That means where and how does employee gets the information? How is he getting the information to perform this particular job? Where is he getting? How is he getting? That is information input. Next is mental process. Okay, to perform this particular job, what is that reasoning, logic, decision making, planning is he applying? Next, coding and decoding. So when it comes to the coding and decoding, what is that physical activities? That is, what are the instruments? What is he using to perform this particular job? And what are the relationship, okay, he should possess to perform this particular job? When he's possessing this job or when he's performing this particular job, what is that personal relationship or the interpersonal relationship with the colleagues or the peer or the subordinate groups expected? Job context. Job context speaks about in what physical or the social context the work is performed. Okay, here again speaks about the working environment, working conditions, working culture, working climate, everything comes into picture here. And other job characteristics or the activities, conditions comes into picture here. Okay, now coming to the subject matter expert. Next, subject matter expert. Here we try to discuss subject matter expert. What it says is, it's a group, okay, subject matter expert is, it's a group of people, okay, the group of people is around 10 to 20 members, okay, they are all job incumbents only, who work with a group leader, they are all working with a leader to produce a job analysis. In this method, what happens, how are they doing the job analysis? There are people, okay, they are all job incumbents people only, around 10 to 20 members, but with the leader, they are trying to analyze the job here. Okay, they participants, and the participants, how are they being selected? The participants have been selected based on their experience or the knowledge or regarding the particular job what they are performing. Okay, this group members, now how are they being selected? They have been selected based on their experience or the subject knowledge. And the general steps to implement this subject matter expert, okay, or else it is also called job expert work. Here what we do is, first you are selecting and preparing. Okay, you try to select particular job and you start preparing. Then you start identifying and rating the job task. What and all job task I can identify and how much I can rate to the job task and all. And again I'm identifying and rating the knowledge, skill, ability to perform the particular job. I'm identifying what is that knowledge required, skill required, ability required, and again I'm rating those 3 KSA. Finally, I am judging, selecting measures, that is job content relevancy. I am measuring what? Job content relevancy here. Now coming to the next topic, that is today's session, we'll be discussing with other three more important methods here, of job analysis techniques. So the very first one to go is critical incident technique. Critical incident technique. So I think you're come across with this critical incident technique. As the name itself says, it's situation based technique. Based on the situation based, we are trying to analyze the job here. Let's understand further what it means. It is used to gather information. Again, this is also a method where we are trying to gather the information to determine the training needs and develop performance appraisal forms. Why this method has been applied in the job analysis is, this is basically applied, you want to determine the training needs, you want to determine the training needs as well as for the performance appraisal forms, in the performance appraisal, we are trying to use this method to gather the information. So what we can call this critical incident technique is, it's a process. Finally, all methods are process only because they are systematically handled, structurally designed. So it's a process which has been designed to generate a list, where this critical incident technique, it is trying to generate a list, especially good and performance, good performance and the poor performance. It is trying to generate the two ways, good performance and the poor performance. So this poor performance, that what we can call good and poor, critical. They are the critical. What is that incident? Examples of performance. Good and the poor is critical, where the performance is what? Incident. And those are related to one's job. Those are related to what? One's job. So that is what we are trying to list out, we are trying to list, and in this list we are trying to distinguishing the good and the poor. This way we are trying to rate it. So this we call it as what? Critical incident technique regarding to the job holders exhibit. What the job holders having, the roles and the responsibilities or the duties, in that we are assessing, we are assessing their training and the performance here. Next, the objectives. What are the objectives of this CIT? The objectives of CIT is nothing but what? Critical incident technique is again to further collect the information. We are trying to gather the information regarding the specific behaviors also, that what has been actually required or what has been observed, in the particular task being carried out now. And regarding to this, in critical incident techniques, it is a incident based, it's on observation based. Whatever you are rating now, it has to be observed based, not on the judgmental. It cannot be judgmental based, no. Or it cannot be the personality trait based. It cannot be on a personality trait based. When you're rating, or when you're designing a job here, keep in mind the critical incident technique, what it says is, it has to be based on the observation, not based on any judgmental or personality trait. That is what it says. This is the main objective of CIT here. And each critical incident technique, consists of description of a situation. I've already told, critical incident technique, incident itself speaks, it's a situation. So it is description of a situation, whether that situation is effective or ineffective. Means during the tough time or the difficult situation to perform that particular job, how it was, whether it was a poor or good. That way we are assessing. During the particular, that is a tough situation, whatever the training, whether it is a good or bad, like this we are just listing. So that's what it is all, situation based description, and we are specifying whether it is an effective one or ineffective one, that behaviors, when you're performing that job, it gets reflected, the behaviors, what you try to feel. So that we are telling by the job incumbent. By the job incumbent person, and the consequences of the behavior, when he is performing the job because of the situations, what happens? The consequences of the behavior, consequences are nothing but the results of the behaviors are reflected. Next is implementing the CIT. What is implementing the CIT here? How are we going to implement this critical incident technique here? See, the very first is you have to select the method. You have to select the method. The method is for critical incident collection. Situation, I mean the situation you have to collect. Once the situations are being collected, then you are selecting a panel of job experts. Means during this particular job, that is during that particular situation. Okay, we have this particular situation. So in this particular situation, to perform this particular job, how can we handle? That is what it is saying, critical incident technique. Okay, so what are the behaviors expected during this kind of situations? So that's what we say, we are selecting a panel of job experts. Once we are done with the selection of the method, all the critical incident collection has been done, then we are selecting the panel job experts. After that, we are generating critical incidents. Okay, we are generating the critical incidents and we are defining the job description. We define the job description. Okay, during this tough time, if this job has been assigned, okay, it has to be performed this way. Okay, example. Okay, let's take an example. Suppose now there is a salesperson who is working in a showroom, okay, of a shoe company. Let's take any brand, Adidas, Nike, Puma, etc. So a customer gets in to the shop and this shoe salesman, he just makes a comments regarding the size of a customer. Do you think it's a real matter one if a salesperson is commenting on the size of a customer? Okay, and the customer leaves the store in a very like a half manner. He just leaves the shop because the salesperson has commented on the size of the foot of a customer. So here what we can understand is the behavior of a salesman, okay, may be judged. What we are telling is, already I have told, critical incident technique is mainly on observation, not on judgmental or personality trait based. But here what we are doing is behavior of a salesman may be judged. Okay, this judgment, what we are judging, whatever the behavior he did was, it was not an effective one. It was inefficient behavior. Okay, it was an inefficient behavior. This inefficiency has got us what? A poor result. It has given what? When it comes to the terms of result, produces very poor. It is not good. That is what we are telling here. Okay, the poor is what? Critical, and the incident is the performance, ineffective performance. Hope you understood with example what we explained this critical incident technique here. Okay. Now coming to the next technique of job analysis, here we go, that is observation. Okay, that's a very simple one and an easier one, observation. So when you are designing a job, when you are creating a job, okay, what we do go with? Observation kind of thing. So the analyst, what he does is, he observes, okay, he is observing the work. He observes the work or a worker. So when a job analyst, okay, or a specialist, when he's been given to design a job, what he's going to do is, he is going to observe, okay, observe the work or a worker. Okay, by that, he is deriving a job duties, nature, characteristics of that particular job, what is to be performed. Okay, so that's what we can say is, the observation is one of such method where the analyst observes the work or a worker, what he is doing a job or a task or activity, and even the working condition also, etc. Many things comes into picture here. Okay, so in this method, information, okay, in this method what? Information is collected through observation. Finally, all the methods, what it says is, we are trying to collect the information regarding to the particular job or the duty, what the incumbent is performing, in one or the other ways of the methods here. Okay, here the informations are collected by what? Thorough observation, okay, of the work performed along with the discussion. Not only with observation what you can try to collect, also I am having a discussion, okay, discussion with the incumbent or a supervisor. Okay, I try to have a discussion with incumbent and the supervisor. If not observation, I can also have a healthy discussion and try to collect the data. Okay, here, and this observation, it is used if a particular job is simple. Remember that whenever the complicated jobs are there, you cannot apply the observation. Only for the simple nature of job, okay, and the repetitive one, okay, the jobs which are repetitive, okay, daily routine jobs, what we can call, those jobs you can apply this observation method for analyzing the jobs, and it does not take any mental aspect. Remember, in this observation, you are not applying any mental aspect here. Okay, at the name suggests again, what we can conclude is observation means watching the incumbent. Okay, we are just watching the incumbent, the person, what the role has been given and how is he performing that particular job. By that, I am just assessing the nature of the job here. At the same time, observation is most useful when the jobs are what? Complex. See, one way we say observations are very much effective when the jobs are very simple and repetitive nature, because it does not require any mental aspect. Here what we say is observation is most useful when jobs are complex and difficult to accurately describe. The next here, job element method. Okay, today's session after observation, what we are going to come is job element method. Okay, let's see now what this job element method speaks about. Okay, see, job element method is one of such method of job analysis. Here it is a worker oriented process. Again, it's all worker related activities only. Again, it is a worker oriented process where it is designed to identify the characteristics of a supervisor. See, one thing, in all the previous methods and all, we were looking into the job's nature, job's characteristics, etc. with the help of either the supervisor, okay, or the incumbent or the subject expert. But here, especially this job element method speaks about the supervisor. Okay, it is speaking about what? Supervisor. Here, it's a worker oriented process. It is designed to identify the characteristics of the supervisor worker on a job. So we are going to study the characteristics of a supervisor, who is the particular person supervisor who is performing a job here. So supervisor or the incumbents, I've already told, both sit and discuss. Okay, they develop the job analyst here, and they develop a list of these characteristics. What a supervisor to perform this particular job, what is this characteristics required, or what are the qualities required, or the traits required. So both they are going to discuss and they're going to list regarding to these characteristics, and then both of them are going to rate. They are going to rate them in such a way that characteristics, regarding to the characteristics or the qualities, those two people are going to rate. First, they are going to list out the characteristics, okay, regarding to the job, and then they are going to rate those characteristics here. And this is very much essential for a supervisor performance are determined. Okay, and these qualities are called job element. So now when it comes to the job element method, please try to understand job element is nothing but the characteristics of a job or a quality of a job. Okay, what a supervisor is doing, we are defining that particular job characteristics or a job qualities. Okay, and job element includes, what does it include? It includes a wide variety of characteristics. Yes, of course. When we speak about any particular role or a task or a job, it is going to define n number of characteristics that describes the supervisor performance on the job. That's what. Once the job characteristics are defined correctly, naturally we can describe the supervisor's performance on particular job here. So these elements, I mean these characteristics or the qualities consist of a worker characteristics. Okay, even though we speak about here, not speaking about the incumbent here, we are speaking about the supervisor. What it says is we are speaking about the supervised characteristics here, such as what and all required the characteristics. Even though the worker also requires the same characteristics, and even the supervisor also requires the same characteristic. What is that? Knowledge. What is that? One characteristic, one element is such that a supervisor requires knowledge. For example, for an accounting job, he requires accounting principles knowledge. Okay, or HR job, okay, he requires a HR domain skills. Like this, it requires a knowledge there. Then the skills, I mean the skills. So he requires the second element is skills. For example, if I'm a carpenter, I want to cut a wood. Okay, how can I cut the wood? The skill is I can cut this log or a wood box, whatever it is, with the help of a woodworking tools or a wood cutting tools. So this way of skills is very much required for a supervisor. Okay, and ability is to perform or to manage the program. Okay, ability is how he is going to manage the program, whatever it is. And willingness, one more characteristic, so the element required is willingness, okay, to do the task. Okay, the supervisor should heartfully, he should perform the job here. And next is interest. He should also have an interest. Interest is, he should always try to update his knowledge, skill and ability. That is in learning the new techniques. That's what we say, na? If you're not updating, we are outdating. That is what the same expected from the supervisor also, because that can be passed to the rest of the workers. If he is updating, if he is showing any interest, okay, that is in the learning, in the new techniques, new methods, that can be passed to the workers or the incumbents. And especially one more characteristics or the quality required, okay, in this job element, okay, for a supervisor is personal. Personal is whether how much is depending. Okay, how much is depending on the incumbent, whether he is handling self, the supervisor can do the job self, or how much reliability is there in that particular job what he performs. So remember, so the elements, what are the basic elements this job element methods required is knowledge, skill, ability, willingness, interest and personal. Okay, this is what we also expect from the worker also or the incumbent also. The next is what we try to explain is, once identified with these elements, once we are identifying with these characteristics or the qualities, they are transacted into the more specific employee characteristics. Once you are defining the supervisor elements, okay, that will be transformed to the employee characteristics, and that characteristics we call it as what? Sub element. Job elements are to the supervisor and this job sub elements are for the employee, for the employees, and that we call it as a employee characteristics. And finally, to go with this job element methods, we have the steps. Okay, we have a few steps here. First is you have to select a panel of rates. Selecting the panel of rates. Once you are selecting the panel of rates, we are trying to develop job element. Okay, we are trying to select the job element and sub element also, and rating those job element and sub element, and then you are analyzing this job element method, and finally amplifying sub element definition. You are amplifying sub element definition here. Okay, so I think in today's class we learned with the new 3 techniques of job analysis, that is, one is observation, other one is critical incident technique, and the job element method. So by this we are ending with today's session, and see you soon in the next session. Thank you very much.